Beltran Davis back from Englewood and Denver High School, where the Sun Devils lead the Beat Diggers 18-14. Momentarily will go to the third quarter. The lead of this game is 21-14, but we understand it's still very late in the second quarter, and Florence is on the move. So we'll continue to update you on that particular game. Yeah, it was such a great feeling after the first quarter, Dave. You figure the Beat Diggers picked up where they left off last week in Bayfield, but it's been a while since the Beat Diggers have had multiple turnovers in a game, let alone in one quarter, and that's what they had in the second quarter. And let's see, this will certainly test their mental state and their character as Ken Denver receives a third quarter kickoff.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, they're going to have to dig deep down inside, and you know, this is where, like you said, this was a gut check. And you know, I got to believe the Diggers, they've always done a good job of making halftime adjustments. You know, they've always done a good job of coming out in the second half and playing hard. And I expect them to do that exact same thing right here and right now. They're just going to have to hold on to the football. And you know, one of the things with this turf the way it is, you know, you're kind of a little bit more used to running on the grass and all that. But that doesn't make a difference as far as fumbling the football and all that. So the Diggers are going to have to be really careful as far as handling the football on kickoffs and kick returns and punt and punt returns to make sure they don't have another turnover.
Well, you know that Ken Denver's going to attempt to strip the football every time the Beat Diggers have it. That's going to be the strategy.
You bet. If I was them, I would, after the way we put it on the turf.
Yeah, so expect to see a lot of that from Ken Denver in the second half, and hopefully the Beat Diggers will be disciplined and they will hold on to that football. Beat Diggers touchdown runs from Scatter Seawood and Connor Weiser. A 59-yard run by Matt Florence for Ken Denver, and 2 touchdown passes for Richard Yates, one to Alan Tellis and the other to Bailey Tills, and that's the real killer, not only because it gave Ken Denver the lead, but it was from 30 yards away, only 4 seconds left before the break. The Beat Diggers make that play and one more. They have a 2-point lead at halftime, but instead it's a 4-point deficit as we approach the third quarter.
Well, we look big, you know, that one from the north, and you see the flags that are all along the south end of the stadium. They're standing up and whipping hard, so there's an advantage to a team that's throwing the football going from north to south.
And if the Beat Diggers can reclaim the lead, then obviously you're going to go back to that ground game like they've been doing so successfully throughout the course of the season. And they should be just fine from that standpoint.
You wonder what the Diggers are going to do as far as the tosser. You know Kent's going to receive the football, but you'll have to see if the Diggers decide to have the wind at the back in the fourth quarter, or if they're going to use it right now, right off the bat, to try to stuff Kent Denver deep close to their own end zone.
Well, Jesus Cardenas will kick it off momentarily for the Beat Diggers. Eric Garcia is warming up along the sideline because you have to anticipate, as we mentioned earlier, that he'll probably be throwing some just to loosen up that Ken Denver defense, because they did do a better job on that final brush possession of stopping the Beat Diggers when the Beat Diggers went for it on 4th and 3 of the Ken Denver 43, and that's normally something the Beat Diggers convert, but they couldn't do it, and that gave Ken Denver the short field and ultimately the lead. It'll be Matt Florence and Collins Gantz back to receive for Ken Denver as we begin the final 24 minutes of the season for one of these teams. Cardenas holds his hand in the air, runs up to the football, and he boots that football high and deep. Gantz backs up and catches it at the 2. Running to his right across the 15 to 20. He's got a seam, and he's got speed to burn down the middle of the field. Gantz is still in the clear along the sideline at the 40. Down to the 30 by himself at the 15-10. 5 touchdown, 98 yards for Collins Gantz. And Ken Denver leads 24-14.
The Diggers had about 4 guys on this near side on that kick return that were right there ready to make the tackle, but none of them broke down. They all just kept running straight ahead, and they let him get too far upfield for him to have any kind of containment as Gantz broke it up the middle of the field.
Sawyer Petrie to attempt the extra point. Bay Diggers have not been down by double digits since the Weld Central game, and they won that one by 14 after trailing 20-0. Petrie to attempt the extra point off the hold of Richard Yates. Waiting the snap, it's down, the kick is up, and that kick looks pretty good from here, and it is. 11:44 to go, third quarter. It's Kent Denver, 25, Rush 14 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com.